There was some question from some governments in certain parts of the world as to where these were tied to, and so this is the first official word we've heard from the kingdom. Comes as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo heads for the region. Brand new video right here, that Saudi news conference where military officials display what they say are Iranian cruise missiles and drones that were used in this attack.
Benjamin Hall is live in Jerusalem with the latest. Benjamin?
Yeah, hi, Sandra. The last few days, we've really seen a concerted effort, both by Saudi Arabia and the US, to compile, to put together evidence that pointed the finger at Iran. Well, we've now heard from the Saudi defense minister, and he says in no uncertain terms that this attack was sponsored by Iran using Iranian weapons. He laid out a whole raft of evidence, including fragments picked up from those UAEs and cruise missiles which were used, but he stopped short of saying that it was fired from Iranian territory, saying only that it had been fired from the north. And so what we're seeing now is Saudi Arabia laying out why it feels that Saudi Arabia was behind this, not just behind this attack, but by a number of other attacks going back the last few years. And they had a list showing previous examples when similar UAVs had been used by the Islamic Republic to attack the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And they pointed out the number of casualties among civilians and among infrastructure. So what we're seeing just before Secretary Pompeo arrives in Saudi Arabia to meet with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is this attempt to gather behind them allies from around the world. They've reached out to the UN, the US, the UK, France, to say that this is not only an attack on Saudi Arabia and its oil infrastructure, but that this is an attack on the world economy and that they cannot be allowed to get away with it. We've also heard that President Trump has been offered a number of possible military options, but there is no way that anyone is rushing towards a war footing at the moment. This is a slow process in which they are trying to gather as much evidence as possible. US investigators have been on the ground, as I say, and we expect to hear over the coming days from the US as well as they lay out their report. President Trump, of course, just announcing his new national security advisor, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays into it. But certainly what we're starting to see now is a sense that Iran is definitely behind this. The Saudis have made it clear from the beginning, and what we are seeing now also is Saudi Arabia asking the international community to get behind them as they try and deal with this. Of course, in Iran, they're denying it completely. They continue to insist that these attacks came from Yemen, from the Houthi rebels there. But the evidence just does not point to that anymore. The Houthi rebels do not have the capability to fire drones 500 miles and with such precision, such targeted precision as we saw. So now we've heard from Saudi Arabia. We're going to see if Secretary Pompeo speaks when he lands in Saudi Arabia in the coming hours. But certainly a momentum, a shift towards the focus towards Iran.
Benjamin Hall on that breaking news for us this morning. More on that coming up. Thank you.